Hello, my name is Krista Adams, and I am the proud principal of Stevenson Elementary, located in Mesa Public Schools. I just completed my fourth year as the principal here at Stevenson, and it was our second year implementing the Next Education Workforce Model. It's a true honor and a privilege to be invited here today to share some of the wonderful things happening at Stevenson around teams of educators and personalized learning. And I want to start by giving the wonderful people at ASU and Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College just a big shout out and thank you on behalf of our Stevenson community. The success and the growth that we are experiencing is a direct result of their leadership and support, and we are just very deeply grateful to be able to partner with them in this work. So today I will share with you who we are, how we approach teaming, how we provide deeper personalized learning, some specializations and advancement pathways we're working towards, and the impact of what we're seeing and where we are headed. So let me begin by sharing a little background of who we are and why we are committed to the work of the Next Education Workforce. We are a Title I school located on Maricopa County Island in East Mesa. We serve a diverse student body of approximately 650 students enrolled in grades preschool through 6th grade. Before we began our work with the Next Education Workforce, our staff had adopted this vision statement of inspiring hope and excellence for every child. We truly wanted to be a place of excellence where we could view and support each child as an individual full of strengths, potential, with a bright, hopeful future. And while we really wanted to live into that vision, our school and our staff were experiencing many challenges that many Title I schools face. Many of our students had significant social, emotional, and academic needs. Our staff was working as hard as they possibly could to meet those needs. We were experiencing some growth in student learning when measured by state assessments, but yet we just knew it was not enough. We knew that often our students were learning isolated skills that were not really relevant or meaningful to their lives and rarely connected to any broader outcomes. And while we really wanted to support students as individuals and capitalize on their strengths and interests, the instructional model that we were using really left no room for personalization. So right around the same time that we were grappling with how to better support our own students, Mesa Public Schools adopted our Portrait of a Graduate. There was an overwhelming desire within the Mesa community for students to graduate with broader outcomes that included the essential attitudes and skills listed on the slide. Our staff agreed that these were the outcomes we wanted for our students, and in order to make this happen, we were going to need to make some very large and important instructional shifts. We were just looking for a way on how to make this happen. So fortunately, during that time, we had begun to partner with ASU and think about teaming in a deeper way. Like many educators, our teachers were already accustomed to working in teams to do things like plan for instruction and analyze data. And while there were benefits to this type of teamwork, the majority of the teamwork was done outside of the classroom. Inside the classroom, it was still pretty much up to just one teacher to meet the needs of all 25 to 30 learners. So we started to think about how we could use teaming inside the classroom all throughout the school day in order to truly provide deeper personalized learning. So during the 2021 school year, we had a 3rd grade team that was eager and willing to pilot the idea of a team of educators wrapped around a shared roster of students, about 85 students. That team consisted of a lead teacher, 2 professional educators, and 3 teacher candidates. And over the course of this year, the team experimented with many different instructional and teaming approaches, all while balancing those transitions between in-person, hybrid, and remote instruction that were required by COVID that year. So in a year of a worldwide pandemic, when most educators were just merely trying to survive, our little 3rd grade team was thriving. We saw substantial shifts in student engagement and student agency. Students and educators were highly energized by the learning that was occurring, and our other grade level teams took notice and began to express interest and take steps toward adopting team-based models. So around March of 2021, we had decided that this team-based approach really did create the conditions to make the instructional shifts that we were wanting to make for our students. It allowed for flexibility and support that was good for both students and educators. So we decided to expand to a school-wide teaming model for the 2021 school year. For our expanding year, it worked out best to have each grade level be its own team. Each of these teams served about 75 to 100 students. They consisted of a lead teacher, certified teachers, and on many of the teams, we also had teacher candidates. In addition to each grade level team, we identified 2 supporting teams, a special education and intervention team. Grade level teams would work with these supporting teams to collaborate and provide targeted services and intervention based on students' needs. So throughout our pilot year and into our expanding year, we have really grown as a staff and understanding what exactly it takes to make highly collaborative teams. It was very interesting that just as our learners grow in different areas and at different rates, so do our educators and teams. Each team had their own unique strengths and needs. They were working on different areas of this teaming model at different times, and in turn, they were learning from each other. As a leader, it was very important to give our teams autonomy and support through this expanding process. While we were continuously evolving and changing, the following big ideas emerged and helped us to guide our work and make decisions. So we decided that we would use student information or data to make decisions about how we would deploy our educators, and that this should be a constant, fluid process. We also discovered that it was important to use educators' strengths and passions and expertise to identify areas of specializations and roles. We found that when educators focused on a specialization that they were skilled or passionate about, their instruction became stronger and more engaging for our students. We also found that professional learning needed to look a little different. Much like our instruction for our students, it really needed to be responsive, differentiated, and job embedded. No longer did it make much sense to have all the staff get together to learn the same thing, but rather we shifted into smaller cohorts and provided professional learning through collaboration, visits to other schools, bringing in experts. The professional learning was targeted for the group that truly needed it. As I mentioned earlier, our whole purpose for implementing a teaming model was to create a better learning environment for our students through deeper personalized learning. And at Stevenson, we approach deeper personalized learning through an inquiry lens. Student questioning, voice, choice, and interest is always at the forefront of our minds as we plan and deliver instruction. Teams work together to design interdisciplinary or thematic units that are woven throughout their school day in all content areas. While science and social studies standards usually drive these interdisciplinary units, much of the content is introduced during our literacy blocks through a workshop model. These units create a connected, authentic learning experience that results in deeper understanding, critical thinking, creative problem solving, and stronger learning connections. So a recent example is a 3rd grade unit in which students engaged in a lot of learning around Arizona history. So through this unit, students conducted author studies on Arizona authors. They were able to research and write about Native American tribes in Arizona. They published Arizona travel magazines, and they even researched and planned out a road trip through Arizona to see important landmarks. They had the opportunity to learn from several community educators, which included the Arizona Highways Editor-in-Chief, 2 guest Arizona authors, a county supervisor, and a Native American tribe representative. Students were able to display their projects and learning through a community learning celebration. Another important factor of deeper and personalized learning is designing instruction to meet the needs of all the learners. And we approach this in a few ways. First, flexible scheduling is super important. Each student does have a personalized schedule for their day, and this allows for flexibility in moving students and deploying educators to meet their individual needs. Another thing we do is we invest time for one-on-one conferring throughout our day. This time is essential for teachers to really get to know their learners as individuals and then provide that personalized, specific support for every child. We also schedule and protect time for direct, explicit intervention based on student need. These interventions include our special education and our support team. So one of the big ideas of the next education workforce is that there would be specializations and advancement pathways for educators. And while our district and school are still exploring these pathways, at Stevenson, we have identified one key role that is essential to our work. That is the role of the lead teacher. The lead teacher is responsible for delivering instruction to students and at the same time leading a team of educators. This keeps our highly skilled educators in the classroom. However, it increases their impact beyond the 25 or 30 students that they would typically have in a one teacher, one classroom model. The role allows the teacher to develop their own professional skills of leading and coaching a team while helping their colleagues develop their own skills and expertise. The lead teacher carries many responsibilities for caring for and deploying the team. However, the main role is to model and lead innovation, problem solving, and progress towards our portrait of a graduate. So all of this work has had a very positive impact on students and staff in our community. This impact on students is perhaps the very most exciting. When you walk into the classrooms, there is an overall increased level of student engagement and motivation. Students are asking questions, working together, and enjoy talking about their learning. On our strongest teams, non-compliance and work avoidance office referrals have pretty much disappeared. In addition, students are much more invested in their learning. This is particularly noticeable in our reading workshop. So prior to making these instructional shifts, all children were pretty much reading the same text during reading, and teachers were trying to scaffold. It was rare to ever find a child reading a book for fun or even have a child want to talk to you about what they were reading. However, now it is completely different. Through our workshop model, students have voice and choice in what they read. They have moved from seeing reading as simply a task to be completed or graded to actually developing an identity as a reader. They love talking to you about what they were reading and why they selected a book. They have favorite authors and genres. There is a sense of calm and joy in our classrooms during reading workshop that is truly felt by all. Another very positive impact on our students is that our family engagement has significantly increased. Families love attending our students' learning celebrations. This is reflected in our parent survey feedback, which is overwhelmingly positive. Parents report that their children enjoy school and they notice that they talk more about school and their learning while at home. They also report that students feel connected and supported by staff. So this model has strengthened that home-school connection, which we know is so important for learners. Our educators are also positively impacted through this teaming model. Most report a significant increase in job satisfaction. They feel less isolated and a greater sense of belonging at work. Teachers report that they feel better at their jobs because they don't have to be all things to all learners all day long. And as a principal, I've noticed that our educators are more willing and able to take risks and innovate. When they are working closely together, they dream bigger about what is possible. I hear less talk and focus on barriers and roadblocks. They tell me it's because they feel stronger when working together, so they're not as fearful as when they were working in isolation. This teaming model has also allowed for rapid growth in educators' knowledge and skills, particularly with our novice teachers. You know, most novice teachers are working on classroom management, basics, engagement strategies when they're working in isolation. However, it's been wonderful to see how when these novice teachers are supported by a team in those areas, they are freed up to also grow their expertise in content and pedagogy. This has caused them to grow at a more rapid rate than I have ever seen before with novice teachers. And as a result, it's much better for our learners. So implementing a school-wide teaming model this past year was an amazing feat. I am so proud of our students and our staff and all they have accomplished to lay this foundation for our continued work. Our school has truly transformed to a strong, united learning community, and we really are excited about where we're headed. Moving forward, our main goal is to simply strengthen the school-wide model that we have built this year. We want to grow our teams and our instruction by supporting educators in developing greater expertise. We also are working to develop more extensive and comprehensive interdisciplinary units with increased access to community experts, authentic performance assessments, and showcases of student learning. One new thing that we will be implementing is a multi-age learning environment in grades 1st through 6th. The heart of deeper personalized learning is those relationships that are fostered between educators and students. And we want to capitalize on those relationships by expanding our model into multi-age learning environments. So this graphic depicts our multi-age teams for next year, which will include 2 houses for each multi-age span, 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and 5th and 6th. This will allow teams to work with the same students for 2 years. It also allows more opportunities for educators with similar specializations to collaborate across houses. And we think this will be a continued benefit for our students and educators. So thank you so much for your time and interest in learning about Stevenson's Next Education Workforce Model. If you'd like to connect with me or our staff, please feel free to reach out via the email on the slide. Now, I am happy to have 2 of our teachers join me for the Q&A portion of our presentation.